What is going on, guys? Gaston right here, and today we're going to be talking about, guess what? The Sony A7 IV, one of the most requested topic right here in the channel, and I don't blame you. You know, I'm actually pretty excited about that camera, but there hasn't been a single video that I make that at least 20 people ask me, where is the Sony A7 IV? So in this video, we're going to talk about the things that we already know, but we're going to be talking about the three latest releases, the Sony ZV1, the Sony A7S III, and the Sony A7C, because these three cameras give us a great clue of what the Sony A7 IV is going to be all about, coming right up. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Gaston right here, and if you're new to this place, remember I'm doing a free giveaway of a brand new Sony A7C. To enter in this contest, simple. Subscribe to this channel right now, enable notifications, go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Gaston Shutters, and I'm going to be announcing the winner on December 24th or the 25th live. So good luck to you guys, and let's go right into the news, because the Sony A7 IV has been a hot topic for a while right here in the channel. People want to know what is going on with this camera. Did it go cold? No, the camera did not go cold, and definitely we're going to see this camera coming up really soon. Now, one of our sources from Asia says that we may hear about this camera around November. Now, let's actually talk about the three cameras that I mentioned before, the ZV1, the Sony A7S III, and the Sony A7C, because these three cameras are going to give us a perfect clue of what the Sony A7 IV is going to be all about. So, the Sony ZV1. This one was a dedicated vlogging camera. It's the camera that has, for the first time, the very first flip-out screen. Now, a lot of us, we were hoping for this, to have the touchscreen capabilities, but Sony didn't give us that. And it's in reality an RX100 Mark 7 with cheaper materials, less buttons, and, the flip-out screen. Then Sony introduces the Sony A7S III, the much anticipated camera, and this camera has been in the works for maybe 5 years, 4 years, and pretty much is basically almost everything that we've been asking for. This camera has incredible 4K video features, 4K up to 120, internal 10-bit 420. Pretty good, right? Now, a lot of people were expecting this camera to do 8K and rival Canon, but Sony decided to go safe with 4K and do a lot of features in 4K and do it right. Now, it is the first camera with a dual CF Express Type A cards that allows the camera to also do, some of those high-end features on the camera, but most of the 4K video feature can actually happen on the SD card. So that is actually great news. But for the first time, we have a 9.44 million dots EBF. Ridiculous EBF for a camera that actually is not a photography camera, and I covered why in my last video. It's a video camera, but it has the very first flip-out screen with touchscreen capabilities and the whole 9 yards. Not only that, Sony gave us a brand new menu. Then Sony introduced this Sony A7C, which is a camera that it was rumored to be the perfect vlogging camera, full frame, the very first for $1,000. It was said it was going to compete with the Canon RP, but then we realized that this camera is an $1,800 camera. The camera did not have the 10-bit capabilities that we thought the camera was going to have, and I actually mentioned that in a video. And the camera is basically a Sony A7 III with slightly improvement, such as real-time tracking in video, and a slightly much more compact form factor. In reality, it's kind of like a Sony A7 III if you chop off the EBF and you add real-time tracking. So with that out of the way, now we understand what these three cameras are all about. So we can actually start talking about the Sony A7 IV. Now, what we learned from this? Well, first of all, we learned that Sony can actually create everything we want, but that's going to come at a cost, and that camera is the Sony A7S III. Now, the Sony A7S III is a video-centric camera, and a lot of us, are hybrid shooters. We want a camera that we can take great photography and also can film great video. Although with the Sony A7S III, you can actually take great photography, you're going to be capped at 12 megapixel, and for example, for myself, that doesn't cut it. Now, 24 megapixels seems to be the sweet spot for a lot of people, and this is one of the reasons why the Sony A7 III has been such a popular camera, especially when this camera was announced that, for $2,000, you could actually get a lot for your money. A great photo camera and a great video camera. And until today, a lot of people are still shooting with that camera. I myself, because 24 megapixel is just more than enough, and for a lot of people, 4K 30 8-bit is also more than enough. Now, the Sony A7 IV has been rumored to have 10-bit capabilities, 4K 30, 10-bit capabilities. Some people were saying 60p. Some people were saying that we were going to get almost the same features of the Sony A7S III, but it's not going to happen that way. We've learned the lesson with the Sony A7C, which is a brand new camera that has the flip-out screen but does not have the brand new menu, and it doesn't have the touchscreen capability. So chances are that the same thing is going to happen with the Sony A7 IV unless Sony decides to increase the price on this camera. Now, if the camera is $2,300 because it's not going to be $2,000, these are the following features that we can expect. Number one, 4K up to 30p, 8-bit. Yes, I say 8-bit. This camera is not going to do 10-bit if the camera is $2,300. We also going to gain the real-time tracking, which that's going to be an improvement. And we're going to have the new IBIS from the Sony A7S III, which is much more improved from prior versions. Now remember, the Sony A7C has 5-stop. The Sony A7 III has 5.5 stop, which is actually better than the Sony A7C. But the Sony A7S III actually has a way better IBIS. So chances are that Sony will actually give you, that IBIS, the technology is there, they can fit it in a full frame body, and we can have that. But with a flip-out screen, because we're gonna have the flip-out screen, we're not gonna have touchscreen capability. So think about a Sony A7C, but the reverse, the opposite. Think about Sony A7C with the full-blown EVF. We may have a little bit higher resolution in the EVF. We may have also higher resolution on the screen, which is a lot of the things that people have been asking for the Sony A7 III or the A7 IV, and that's gonna cut it right there. Now, if the camera is going to be above $2,500, and it wouldn't surprise me if the Sony A7 IV goes for $2,799, then this camera is going to have 4K 30p 10-bit internal onto 2 SD cards. And yes, I said 30p because this camera is not going to have 60p nor 120 in 4K. Sony is clearly telling us that they're going to protect their line and they're going to segment all this camera. This is the reason why they're releasing all this camera, to really cater to specific type of consumer. So if the camera is $2,100, you could expect, once again, 4K 30p 10-bit internal onto 2 SD cards. We're gonna have the new IBIS here. We're gonna have a better EVF. We're gonna have then the touchscreen capabilities on the flip-out screen and the brand new menus and everything else that we are expecting, the real-time tracking and video and the whole 9 yard. But this is going to happen only if the camera is going to soar the $2,800 price, or at least above $2,500, guys. So this is all what I can communicate for you guys. I was planning to wait for more rumors, hear from our sources, but chances are that this is what we're gonna see coming forward. The camera may be announced in November, so we may start hearing more rumors pretty soon. Let me know what you think about the Sony A7 IV. Would you buy the camera with a slight upgrade, such as real-time tracking, a little better EVF resolution, a flip-out screen with no touchscreen capabilities, and maybe a slightly better IBIS? Drop your comments down below, and until then, guys, I'll see you later.